Welcome to ECNTRADE Daily Video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration.
Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you for joining me. Viewing the US dollar, which measures the greenback strength against a basket of 6 major currencies, has rejected the top side of its range around 92.70-75 for the third consecutive time. As we can see here, the market is backed away quite sharply. Keep an eye on this pattern. I don't believe the market bears are likely to step in again, due to the fact is that the RSI is holding up very well and therefore could see the market take the challenge back to the top side and penetrate that level around 92.70-80 area and head on towards its objective, which I'm still holding at 93.60. This in turns would see the euro, which is weighted at 57.6, retest the lows, which is currently around 117.50-80. From the technical point, we haven't broken above the midway point, also on the RSI. Therefore, does put the downside in somewhat to a challenge. Now underneath 117.50 views the area around 116. With the rebound overnight has given enough room for the market to take the challenge lower. But all eyes on this level of 117.50-80 into the European session. Looking at the Australian dollar, the call to 74.20 was reached overnight. And now questions whether we've seen a base or not. One thing to note though is if you can see where I draw this line in here is the fact is we've got a lower low than the prior, but if we look on the flip side to the RSI, we've got a rising RSI. That's in terms bullish divergence. So therefore, with the current objective reached at 74.20, I'd rather step out for the moment in case we get a rise back to 74.55 or up towards 74.95, but not likely to sustain if I do anticipate that the US dollar does decide to retrack its steps from last night and take on the challenge around, as I said, 92.70-80 area. The dollar yen, well, the view for that was to see this channel line being taken out. The reason why I felt that is because the top side was taken out and no doubt the bears would take the bottom line out. So I put an extension down to 109.60-70. That was reached and rejected. And as you can see, the market is attempting to reclaim some of its losses, or pare back at least. I feel that the market may actually head up back to this line around 110.35 and then reject and maybe see a re-challenge again down to 109.60-70 and reassess. Sterling also reached its objective or retested the recent lows of 137.40-45. It is anticipated due to the fact that we have got 4 days of relatively bearish candles here. We've got an outside range day, long-legged doji, a bearish hammer, and which isn't, although it's somewhat bullish, it's still weak. And also the fact is declining RSI. Could see one more test towards this bottom side and maybe even expose the region of 136.70 to 136.10-15 and reassess. That would see another down test for sterling yen after reaching its objective, where I was calling at 150.70. As you can see here, was reached and respected. Unlike some of the markets, there's no divergence, so therefore could see another down test. That is if the pound is still remaining somewhat weak. Therefore, could see a fall towards 150.10. Then I'm neutral, and I'd like to reassess from that level. Bit of a question on where the balls are for gold. The market took another challenge back to that top side and rejected and left us the long-legged doji, showing somewhat indecisiveness for the market. In theory, the long-legged doji acts as indecision amongst traders regarding the direction price it will take, and therefore you can see there is a bit of a sort of a question where we are at the moment as the RSI buckles. If we see a close under 1,786, it would negate that topside target of 1,835 and reinstate the target down to 1,760 or down to 1,720. But before we come to that call, let's see how the market plays out, because while above 86, could see, as I mentioned, a test to that topside 1,835 and reassess. After that key reversal, the market call was down to 70.20, or at least 69.5 to 70.20, and we got there overnight and saw a modest bounce. Nevertheless, the technicals are still somewhat negative, and therefore could see another test of that downside challenge and reassess. Well, that wraps it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, look out for the intraday report and hope you enjoy the great start to this new weekend.